like a personal problem.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to count down and do your clap?
No, we don't have to.
Okay.
You just count down and then do the pause.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. Hey, welcome to Bitcoin for Introverts. I'm Samson Williams.
Maureen Murad.
Excellent.
Hey there.
Hi there. Actually, is this Bitcoin for Introverts or Crowdy Advisors? I'm not really sure.
Well, I mean, Crowdy Advisors does Bitcoin for Introverts, right?
Yeah. So the question we're going to answer today in this episode is real estate crowdfunding.
Okay.
What is it? Sort of how does it work? We're only going to spend about 3 minutes on it. So we'll kick it over to the good doctor and professor, the myth, the lady herself at Crowdy Advisors. What does real estate crowdfunding mean?
So just to separate the two, crowdfunding is the act of a large group of people and each putting in a relatively small amount of money to to fund a purpose, a goal, a project, etc. So if you add real estate to it, it's essentially people coming together, putting smaller amounts of money together to fund either a development project or to purchase maybe a multifamily building, or maybe to purchase a home, a single family home. Mm-hmm. So essentially people are coming together, and this is all done via a platform.
What is the platform?
It is a funding portal. So this is where people
create online.
Oh yes, it's online. So you create a profile and you look at the different properties that you would want to invest in, and then you invest. Or there are some people who have the property in mind that they need investors for. So then you could then turn around and create your own platform, going through the FINRA process and all that, so that you could have these particular projects or real estate development projects online.
So let's do a scenario. Let's say I have a multifamily unit. It's a quadplex, duplex. It's 4 apartment units. And so I need to raise $2 million. How does that look like?
Well, so you already have the property in mind.
I have the property in mind.
So you could go through, you could do it 2 ways. It depends on what kind of investors you're trying to engage. If you're trying to only engage accredited investors, then that's one route. But if we're saying we're trying to engage like the average retail investor, then you could either list, depending on the funding portal, the platform online, you could either list that property, and then create a campaign around getting that project funded.
Do I have to own the property before I list it?
No. So there are some platforms that will say, this is what we're looking at, and we can put an offer in and all that. Mm-hmm. Some like to already have the have some communication with the owner or the developer to try to move that across quickly. But you don't have to own the property before you try to raise money for it.
You just have to have the intention of buying a specific property.
Right. And okay. I mean, but you have to tell the people who are going in on this deal with you, you don't actually own it yet. That is not yours, and you can't guarantee the sale. Once you raise the money, there's no guarantee that you will close. So that's another thing.
That's a good point. So we're going to have a campaign, hypothetically, to buy 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for $2 million. Whether or not they actually want to sell us the building for that is a different question, right?
That is a totally different question. Yeah.
So any other things that the audience should know in general about crowdfunding for real estate deals?
So the other thing you want to think about is when these folks are, when you're bringing on investors, retail investors onto your project, what will they actually have an ownership interest in? Will they have an ownership interest in the company that will be going around potentially buying these different companies or different locations or real estate properties? Or will they have interest or ownership interest in the actual property that you are crowdfunding for? So that's something to take into consideration.
Awesome. So we're going to summarize that real quickly from our notes. You can have accredited or retail investors in your deal depending on your platform. The platform is code word for online.
And actually most of the real estate crowdfunding platforms do want the investors to be accredited.
Yes, there are some minimums that we didn't talk about.
Right.
Because many of the minimums for like on Fundrise, I think Fundrise is $2,500 if I'm not mistaken.
I think mobile shares or mobile realty is like $1,500. So over $1,000, we'll say.
So all of the platform fees are minimums rather. The fees vary, the minimum investment varies. And you can be either investing in the company that's going to go buy these properties or the properties themselves. There are some other nuances. We just want to give you paint a little picture. We didn't get into talking about whether you're going to do debt or equity.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, because that's another option, right? You could do debt, and so the people who invested, you would be paying them back with maybe their rents or after you sell the property or something like that.
Remember, debt crowdfunding is you're getting a loan. You need to pay back your investors. Equity crowdfunding, you're owning a piece of that building or that company that's going to go out and buy a piece of the company that's going to go out and buy a property. So keep that in mind. There's some details, of course. The devil's in the details. Right. We just wanted to give everybody a little bit of flavor of what it means when we talk about real estate and crowdfunding. You can crowdfund a single family house, let's say it's $300,000, or an entire apartment complex or building, which is $300 million. Really just depends on what your offering is and how many investors you think you can get in on your deal. Because remember, just because you put your deal up on a platform, sort of like selling a house, you gotta have an open house, gotta draw attention to it. Sort of like listing your house on Trulia, it may not move without your help or effort. Keep that in mind, because that's a different conversation about lowering your customer acquisition costs or your investor acquisition costs for your crowdfunding campaign. But that's it for the moment. Thanks for following. Thanks for listening. Follow Maureen at Crowdy Advisors. I'm at Axes and Eggs or Hustle Fund Baby. Anything you want to sign off on?
Yes. Our little sweet disclaimer that none of this is investment, tax, or real estate advice. We still encourage you to just use whatever we've said today for informational purposes only.
That's right, because I'm only a lawyer on Twitter. And you haven't sent her a retainer, so she's not a lawyer. Peace.
All right, see ya.